Hello and welcome to the Skype Podcast episode 2. I'm here with Ben and James again.
Hello.
Hello.
And we went to EGX and we're going to be talking about that. But before we get into that, cricket update. England lost.
Oh yeah,
England
I forgot.
went
I can't appear on the podcast this week. My prediction was wrong.
Oh yeah.
Sri Lanka definitely win.
England went from a fair game before it started. Then after they batted, they should have lost because they got a bad score, and then they played really well, so they should have won, and then they lost on the last 3 balls. And I spent 4 hours watching cricket, so we'll stop talking about that now, or I'll get an aneurysm.
I won.
James got it right. Yeah, so good job, thumbs up. Also, before we talk about EGX, we have a Twitter, so follow that if you want, and we'll start actually using it if we get followers. So yeah, thumbs up.
Might start using it, might not. Who knows?
Do either of you two want to say anything before we starting?
I'm good.
No, not really. Let's go.
Okay, so we went to the Saturday EGX thing. We didn't watch any developer sessions, so it really doesn't matter what day you went on because they had the same games every day. We played a lot of games. First game we played was called Wrong Wire. What do you think about that game?
That was fun. That was real good fun. Not gonna lie.
It was all right. I didn't actually play it, but you know,
Yeah, I only
it was just a bomb diffuser game, really. You know, it's Counter Strike for nerds, nerdier nerds than people who already play Counter Strike.
Well, it's actually quite more in detail than Counter Strike.
Exactly, that's why it's for nerds.
Using a bomb does not involve just strapping. I don't know how to play Counter Strike,
Yeah,
but
because these guys haven't given a really good description. The game is basically there are different bombs in this game, and there's only 3 levels at the minute, and there's different
most
scenarios.
of the games we played were in like super alpha and shit because it's indie shit.
Shout out to Bad Rats.
Were fully finished or nearly finished, but most of the games were in early development, so we won't criticise them too much for that because of our gaming authority as gaming reviewers. We are allowed to criticise. Okay, carry on, James.
Yeah, and you basically have to disarm different bombs, and there's a little text thing that you get that basically gives you the vaguest descriptions possible. But that's why it's fun, because it's just trial and error over and over again, just trying to find out what stuff works, what doesn't, and when it comes together at the end, and you've done everything right, it's quite rewarding.
It just gives you some insight into how intelligent bomb diffuser people are. You know, they do it first time. It's not trial and error, otherwise we'd be dead.
No, but we were trial and error.
We were trial and error. They are.
We had to cut someone's thumb off.
We did.
Had to guess a passcode. Well, we didn't have to guess a passcode, but we guessed it correctly nonetheless.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. Callum did. Callum's one of our other friends.
Callum was the other person we went with, and James's dad.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chase dad.
He wasn't actually there. He just drove us there and then just sort of flitted around, being a nerd.
Yeah.
The second game we played, and by we I mean James, because James is a nerd, was Event Square Bracket 0 Square Bracket. James, talk to me.
That game was insightful. So much that I think I might contemplate my life right now, because it was incredible, and I didn't complete it because it was so difficult, but it was good.
You didn't complete the demo of it, which is what we played. It's not like you completed the full game in 20 minutes.
No. The game is basically where you are. I say basically a lot if you haven't realised. It's basically about you
James
are
is
on the
basically really bad at explaining things, so we really should stop letting him. But we are.
We should really stop here. I mean,
you gotta give me a chance.
He really struggles explaining things. He has to spend at least 20 minutes trying to explain a single thing.
You're just lucky you can't see his hands. Back in the
I was moving my
hear
hands.
like a banging sound, you will hear him like hit the screen or something.
He moves his hands around a lot and he babbles. You know, I think, what was that one where he spent like 20 minutes explaining something? He could have explained like 2. He does that every day.
It wasn't one.
It wasn't one, no. I remember a bad one.
When he tried to explain how the moon was formed. That was a good one.
and how ice cores definitely don't exist, but they actually do.
Yes.
All right, here's a quick throwback. We're just going to deviate a little bit here. I'm going to tell you the ice core story.
Okay.
So we walk into school once, as we do every day except for Saturday and Sunday and holidays and bank holidays. So for every school day we walk to school, right? And basically we decided to annoy James and come up with a scientific theory that didn't exist and really try and convince him it did. So
Yes.
we said there were things that existed called ice cores. All clouds are centered around little pieces of ice. And yeah, these things are called ice cores. So we argued about it for 3 weeks. We went on a Wikipedia page, and it turns out ice cores actually exist. Not in the form that we thought, but they
in
do
some
exist.
caves.
They are a thing.
And James. Also, here's another fun story. James said there was a place called Buckminster Abbey that
Oh, yeah.
definitely existed.
It
He said
exists.
It
He
doesn't
said
do.
100% chance that he knew existed.
Right, James is
Doesn't
still angry about
exist.
this one, so it's probably a good idea to
This is-
stop this now before he
is quite
starts telling us
relevant.
that it does exist.
Next game.
Okay, next
Cyberpunk
order of
Bartender
business.
Edition. Action. Ben played that one.
It was meta. It was ultra meta. Yeah, you're a bartender, and there's actually like, it's a 1 out of 10 gameplay, but a 9 out of 10 story, from what I saw of it anyway. So you deal with people at a bar, and basically you learn things about said people. I had a Twitch person, like she's a Twitch recorder. That's her job, and yeah, she kept trying to ask me to go premium for $99 a month, which seems quite excessive for Twitch Premium.
I just want, she really wants those. She's spending a lot of money in your bar, and she's like, shit.
Yeah, she did get pretty drunk. I gave her she requested the nastiest drink, so I gave her the pile driver.
Ben gave a Twitch streamer a pile driver for $19.99. Do you think she'll give me a discount? Or do you think that was a discount?
But yeah, it was pretty meta, people were talking. There's a really, depressed sounding, like your manager sounds really depressed, All he really said was, yeah, they make drinks, I'm going for a cigarette, and never really saw him again. But it's not finished yet, but at the same time, it looks really good. I'd be interested in it. But saying that, all games are at least 5 times better when you play them with your friends.
Yes.
That's a well-known fact.
Game number, that one, +1. I've already lost count.
I think it's 4.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's number 4. Strike Bold. Me and Callum played this, and then Ben joined us while James was still playing that stupid computer game.
The Event Zero.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a dodgeball game, and you threw dodgeballs at each other.
Oh, that was great.
That
was absolutely great.
Callum absolutely destroyed us by me just killing the AI that we were playing with.
Yeah, well, we kept. There's this thing where you can wax the floor. Once you're dead, you can perform certain actions, like, I don't know, be a streaker or wax the floor. And waxing the floor was massively overpowered because you could instantly kill people with it. So Callum won 5 rounds by people waxing them.
Yeah, out the AI by waxing the floor.
It was ridiculous. That's overpowered. You need to remove that, devs.
It was a good game.
The 1 in a million chance that the devs are listening to this, remove waxing, please.
I feel like I missed out.
It was really good. It was 4 players.
You did miss out.
Busy bumming Event Zero.
James was too busy trying to figure out where the hell the diary was.
Where is that diary?
James your dad found it, James.
Yeah.
Or something?
He is definitely 20 times more intelligent than you. He has a degree.
I didn't know existed.
Yeah, James Rage quit a game.
I did. Not very often I do that.
The next game is a quality one. Game number 5. I'll give you a quick introduction to this game. It's a tablet game. I know it's
Oh, my favourite. My favourite.
Ben was absolutely awful at this game, but yet we still let him do the controls.
We got a t-shirt
called Free the Blobs.
I opened the t-shirt and it smells so strongly of PVA glue. I had to put it in the washing before I wore it.
You got the t-shirt.
It smells so horribly of PVA glue.
Right, and you have to get these little blobs to join together, and then slide them into the sort of portal
exit thing
at the end of the level. Yeah, and then it was like puzzle and stuff.
You had to do it at the same time, though. The 2 blobs had to be there at the same time.
Moving, parallel, at the same time, in conjunction with each other.
It was a pretty good game. The concept was good. It's just I'm awful at puzzle games. Like, absolutely awful.
Obviously, we let Ben do the controls, who was awful. And there's a lot of shouting at him. But we managed to complete 15 levels, and we won a t-shirt, which Ben now has.
Yeah. So we
you really don't want it because A, it's not very good quality, and B, it smells of PVA glue.
It is really low quality.
To be fair, I'd rather not have the t-shirt than have the t-shirt.
And they've just basically done an iron-on thing.
It was totally an iron-on thing.
It really is it's just not good.
I will wear it, ironically, of course. Like I do everything ironically.
Yeah. Ben's going
You
to be
should-
rocking out with his Free the Blobs t-shirt.
It's the most uncool thing because when you're wearing it in public, someone's gonna go,
Oh,
"Hey,
that's
what's
very
Free the
cool.
Blobs?" And you're gonna have to tell them in detail what Free the Blobs is.
You're going to have to tell them this story. Or just link on this podcast. So if anyone wants a Free the Blobs t-shirt, we'll giveaway. Ben, we're giving away your t-shirt now.
Give away the Free the Blobs t-shirt. It's in a large size, so if you're a small person, you're either gonna want to use it as pajamas or just throw it away. Really?
Follow us on Twitter for the Free the Blobs t-shirt giveaway,
Yeah.
which
this-
we may or may not do depending on how many people actually
Yeah.
tweet us.
Yeah. I mean, if nobody tweets this, then I'm just gonna keep it.
Ben's just going to use it like to wipe his ass with. This is really shitty. You don't want it. You don't want to win it.
It's a good game, but a bad t-shirt.
It's a fun game on the App Store, and it
It's
doesn't
one
have
of the better quality.
microtransactions.
It's one of the better quality
It's probably like
phone
what,
games.
£2 or something. They didn't really say.
I'd check it out. I mean, if it's anything above like £2, I wouldn't buy it. But
Now there's a 2-hour gap here in my notes, which I'm really not sure what we did in between this.
I
The
probably
fir-
ran off to play Dark Souls 3.
Okay, we'll
Which-
talk about Dark Souls 3 then. Ben
Alright,
played
so
it. Me and James
Dark
played it.
Souls 3. For a start, it crashed while I was playing it. I was trying to beat a boss and it crashed halfway through. I was jamming it out with miracles and it just didn't work. So, yeah, screw you, Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, me and James.
No,
did
not really.
play
I'm going to
it.
talk about the gameplay now.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
From Dark
Lean
Souls
back
1
in
and
the chair.
2, the graphics have obviously improved, but that's just a given, really. It's a new game. Obviously, it's going to have better graphics than the last two. The movement is much more fluid.
Much.
It's much. It's much. And it's
For the
so
power of
much more
10.
fluid, and there's a new thing. There's a new gameplay mechanic
Hold up.
Oh.
called Ash Estus Flasks. I don't know if it was in
James,
2.
Guess what it is. Guess what it is first. Shut up then. We'll have James guess what it is.
I think Ash Esther is
Ash
a
Esther.
jar of ash.
Esther. You know Esther's something in GCSE core science, right?
Yeah.
Is
You
it?
have said the wrong word.
It's Estus, and basically that replenishes your mana, which
Okay,
I don't
James.
think happened in 1 or 2. I can't speak for 2 because I haven't played it, but it definitely isn't
Okay,
in
good.
1. So yeah, Dark Souls 3 looks beautiful, plays beautifully, isn't as buggy as the
Unless
last
it
2.
crashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be fixed on the full release, but you know, to be fair, it's only 3 days before.
Out now, isn't it?
It's either coming out. I think it's coming out today, actually.
That is Monday. Just in case you're watching this.
It came out in 3 days from Saturday, so tomorrow.
It
Which
comes
is
out on March
Tuesday.
24th.
Okay.
I don't think it does.
Initial release date, March 24th.
Yeah, but is that in the UK?
Maybe.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Next
matter.
game on the list was one we all played together. Worms WMD.
Oh
Great.
my god, I love
I'm the
it.
jammiest person on Worms. I'm such a.
Okay, so we were playing some sort of pre-alpha demo type thing, and it only had one game mode, and it had unlimited versions of basically every weapon in the game.
So
you
I
could
just
try them all
Armageddon
out.
everyone.
So Ben Armageddon and donkeyed everyone.
I'm
You
scum.
ever played what they have done is changed the button for jump and shoot. Which
That
is incredibly
shouldn't have done
confusing.
that.
That's fantastic.
People are used to circle. I'm going to say the PS3 controls here. Circle
play
for
on Xbox
weapons
One.
and square for jump. X to shoot. Oh, wait, is it
Yeah.
like that?
So they
Yeah.
so when you try and jump if you try and press the old controls for jump, it's actually shoot. So the amount of
Yeah.
times you just shoot a bazooka at like the floor,
It's pretty
is quite
ridiculous.
incredible.
It
But they've got
needs
some
some.
new stuff in it. They've got the sheep on a rope.
They have the
that
sheep
was
on a
nice.
rope, which James couldn't use because he's awful at worms.
I did use it
He's
successfully
bad.
once. I
James
did. I
won like 3
Well,
out of
after-
4 games.
After 2, no, only.
I won the majority of games, so.
Yeah,
But
but that's
he's
only
on
because you
best
jammed it
jam.
out because you sat in the corner.
Yeah,
James
but you did
accidentally
use
killed one of my
Armageddon.
worms. And
Me and Alfie,
ended up winning
me,
a
Alfie,
game
and
on
Callum
2
destroyed
health.
each other because we're not idiots, and you just sat there.
James. And then they've got the tanks.
Oh, they've
Oh,
got
they-
tanks and helicopters, which
And,
are pretty dope. They're
like
good.
mortar guns and like not sentry tractors.
They
but
were a
mounted
good
guns.
addition. They were
They were
definitely
pretty
a
good.
good addition.
Yeah, the maps are a lot bigger and the art style was a bit more.
It's beautiful. It's such a
it's
good
like
looking
painted,
game.
sort of. I guess you could say.
It is. I don't like the worms. The only thing I don't like is the jagged jaws of the worms. If I could change anything, it would be that.
Yeah,
There's-
the worm art style is a bit funny, but the
It's the
terrain
worm art
looks
style
fantastic.
hasn't changed, whereas the background is it's sort of painted like that sort of brush stroke.
They sort of need to change the worms a bit, if you ask me. But other than that, it's a great game.
Yes.
And
game-
change the controls back.
Yeah, you probably could change them to be fair in the settings, but
Probably, but you should change it by default, really. Everyone knows the worms controls.
yeah,
Yeah.
It does look good though. That's not out yet. So,
What isn't, sorry?
Worms, it's not out yet.
Oh, yeah, it's not out yet.
release
So
date,
they have plenty of time to change it, and for the whole 4 people who listen to this podcast, if one of them just happens to be a Team 17 developer, you know,
Just
get our
comment,
opinion.
comment down below.
If you are actually a Team 17
what's your
developer.
favourite Worms game? Or don't. If we don't care. We won't lie.
Yeah.
Next game me and James played, which was right next to the Worms booth in Xbox, Worms
It was.
game in Xbox, is a Kingdom. Game
I-
with me.
I'm gonna give my opinion. I thought it was actually quite good, and there might be a lot of depth to the game. We didn't play it for very long, but from what I saw of it, it won't. Yeah, because we went to play Worms. What I thought was really good about it is the art style, with the tone of the game. From what I saw, works really well. With that, you're rebuilding a kingdom, and you're recruiting
As a
people.
princess.
Yeah, it's
On a horse.
the horse. The horse is a big part. You play a princess who goes around recruiting new
On a horse.
citizens
You might play
into
the
your.
horse, you don't know that.
Oh, you could, yeah. Ooh.
You played the
The
game,
gameplay.
this is really mind-blowing shit for you right now.
Yeah, and then you use money to recruit people who would then help you rebuild your little castle sort of thing. And then we didn't get to that point, but I saw someone else play up to a point where there were these enemies that would actually start attacking. And it looked like you could actually spend a lot of time in that game building up and getting really
it's
into
a
it.
one life sort of thing, so you die or
Roguelike.
anything happens.
I
you
believe
have
the
to, like,
technical
restart the
term
game.
is.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Roguelike. I know.
Okay.
I know
Okay,
my
we'll do that
shizzle.
again. Just retake. It's a roguelike game.
Wait, not actually. I'm not actually editing that
Yeah,
out. I can't.
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of comedy. That is, you don't actually edit, and I knew you wouldn't. That's my joke. You're welcome. High five, Earnshaw. Yes. Right. Next game on my list is a game called Anarchist. I don't know what Antichrist. Literally have no idea what game that is.
Who played it?
Yeah, it's on the list. Unless it auto-corrected to something, it says Antichrist.
It definitely auto-corrected.
It might be Antioch. You know the game that we played, Alfie? The tablet one?
Oh yeah, Antioch. No, I didn't write that down. I've got the leaflet here. Look.
Oh, okay.
That was
I
a good
don't know
game.
what
We'll talk about that
Antichrist
one
would
now.
be then.
It's called Antichrist. It might have auto-corrected. James, you talk about Antioch, and I'll just Google it. I'll just Google
Okay.
it real quick.
Antioch Scarlet Bay is the name of the game, and it's
It
a
is.
tablet-based
It's a
game.
cooperative game book.
It is.
They.
It's a cooperative game between
Made by
two
Fiber
people.
Tiger and My Class Studio. We're giving it the big shout out here because it was probably the best game you played there. I won't lie.
It was very good. It's based around two.
It was really very good.
It's based around two cops. One of them is a veteran cop, and one of them is a new up and rising one that's been promoted very, very quickly. It seemed from what we saw.
Detectives.
And they are both detectives. And the game is based around solving this crime. And your person, from what we played, your team gets in this police car, drives to this place, sees this dead person, then drives to another place, and then leaves. But that
Yeah,
took
we
us
played
about
a
half
demo,
an hour.
like an early demo.
Yeah, but you get to choose what your characters say to each other, and that leads on to whole different conversations. And me and Alfie somehow managed to have a conversation on what to get for dinner for about 5 minutes in a car outside of the murder victim's house, just for some reason. And that was fantastic because it's like it had nothing to do with the game, and you could just go off and it added a level of I don't know,
Personalization and depth.
personalization, yeah, between the two people playing.
It just was
Good game.
it wasn't just like a we should try.
Okay.
Another game we played that me and James played, what is called The Last Word, which is a platformer based in the pages of a diary, as described by one of the developers themselves that me and James spoke to. It's so you're a girl and she's telling a story of her sort of life. She's quite young, must be about say 10ish, that sort of age. And you're going through her diary, and you've got Oh, well, you've got to put like the words of the diary to make the level, so you jump on those words. But then you go into a story that she's written, and you can move some of the words like, oh, she lit a fire, and then you can get the word fire, and to make light going into this cave, so you can see further forwards in the
I
cave. You can
didn't
see
play that one.
what's
That's
going
pretty
on.
good.
Well, me
It
and
was
James played it, and it's definitely very interesting.
it was very well made, and it
I
was.
think half of these games, like, you'd play at EGX and have fun with, but you wouldn't play them at home.
No, I feel like this was a good experience. This one, I feel like the way that it puts a whole new tone on the platformer. Whereas like you've got like Mario, where it's a fun game, like there's no risk at all. Well, there's risk, but there's no permanent effects. Whereas this one, it takes away risk. There's no risk, but it's very emotional, and the story behind the game builds
Yeah,
up something. It's very hard to
she's
build a
like,
story in a platformer.
it's like, oh, I'll tell you what, she was talking about it, and then she was talking about how her granddad or whatever it was, I think it was her granddad, had like a stroke. And it said it made a whole world turn upside down, and then the level turned upside down. That was dynamic.
Wait, cut. We can't hear
Big,
anything.
What is talking
big star.
in her life is what's happening in the level, and we can.
Alfie, can we
Drop
pause for a second because you're massive stutter again?
Well, there's not much I can do.
Um,
Have you got anything open other than TeamSpeak?
I reckon if you
No.
go into options, capture, and then press push to talk, and then just push to talk when you want to talk.
Oh, what's my push to talk button? What should I make it? I'll make it plus. Oh, it's not plus, it's equals.
And speak again.
I'm now pushing to talk.
It definitely sounds better, doesn't it?
It's on plus.
Okay, right. So start.
Oh, Alfie, look,
25.
You should start repeating. You know when you said, and it said that when her life turned upside down, the level turned. Start from that so it flows a little bit better. Because I can't remember where you stopped, where you started starring.
Do you want to say we just had a jump cut because Alfie's mic was having fun?
I'm really going to keep forgetting to press the button.
Yeah, you need to get used to it.
Oh, is it still doing it?
Are we ready?
Yeah, right.
Already, yeah.
3.
Are we just gonna say a solid jump cut?
Yeah, just say we had a jump cut. Alfie's mic was cutting out a bit. Alright,
We don't
3.
have to say anything. We'll just allow the jump. Yeah. Just put it in. You don't need to,
Okay.
if you don't acknowledge it, you don't need to.
Are we just gonna skip to the next game, or Karen talk about this game?
No, just can't talk about this one.
Okay, we'll carry on talk about this.
Okay, ready? And start at 45. 3, 2, 1, go.
And one of the interesting things was it's telling her life story, and it said, "My granddad had a stroke. It turned my whole world upside down, and the level turned upside down, and that's how the dynamic of the game was. It was what she was saying is what was happening, and because it's quite, I don't want to say dark, but quite personal, emotional, that she was sort of escaping through like stories, like a little adventures, and that is how the game got its like depth. It wasn't just a diary; it was out of the diary, but it was in this. Not say in this girl because that sounds a bit weird, but like it was the girl. It was like you was the girl, but seeing it from it just is very good, and
Yeah.
I'd actually recommend it. It was one of the best games you played there.
It was pretty good. I will say, there was an amazing part of it where where she in her diary was writing down a little mini story about a hero, and your level changed from just being this girl jumping across words to then becoming a proper level, and your character became more detailed, and the world became more detailed as you were playing the story she was writing. And there's such a deep level to the whole game that it was definitely one of the best games there. I will say
Manuel Samuel, next game.
that.
10 out of 10.
James,
10
you were playing
out
because you
of
was playing,
10.
You was
Quantum
playing
Break.
that game, Quantum Break, yeah. But me, Ben, and Callum played that, and Jesus Christ, Ben, I've talked for a lot, so you'll do this.
Manuel Samuel. What can I say about Manuel Samuel? Well,
What can't you say?
what can't I say about Manuel Samuel?
When
Right,
it means
I'm going to
manual,
attempt
it's
to.
very manual.
I'm,
You have to breathe.
I'm
You
gonna
have
have
to
to
press buttons
attempt
to
to
breathe
describe
and
Manuel
blink.
Samuel. So, you have to do everything. You have to breathe, you have to blink, you have to sit your spine up. Now, if you don't do any of this, you'll
be walking along and you can just forget how to spine, and you'll just flop down, and you won't be able to walk, and your spine will just stop working. It's good.
And the narration was hilarious. There was Death as well, who tried to kill you, but didn't quite manage it because he was too busy trying to skateboard and drive a car.
He's trying to do a kickflip.
He couldn't do a kickflip, and he kept blaming the skateboard. It was absolutely hilarious. I love it, but I wouldn't play it because it's entertaining.
It's got that Octodad vibe.
It has the
Yeah.
Octodad vibe, and I played Octodad for a bit and then got bored of it, really. So that's Manuel Samuel. It's basically a 2D Octodad. How you say it?
Let's discuss 3 games we played. Was Rocket League, which
Everyone knows what it is, really. We don't need to review that.
Me and James hadn't played it before.
It's very
we played
fun.
It is fun, and everyone knows that, but we just hadn't played it before, and it was there. We played a VR game called The Assembly.
It wasn't very fun.
When I say game,
Yeah, gaming quotations.
Yeah,
We-
very
it's
big.
cool.
Like, you know the little asterisk after product, like sausage asterisk.
suspicious quotation marks,
Yeah, suspicious
You just-
quotation.
You just real meat asterisk.
cheeseburgers.
Pork
Yeah.
hot dog.
Yeah, well, we sat there, and it told quite an interesting story. And VR is always interesting, but
It's immersive. It's great. I love VR.
we queued for an hour just to sit there and basically hear
Walk.
someone talking, and we get to look around.
It
Yeah.
wasn't very good.
It
It
can
looked
be
nice.
interesting, but there is no gameplay.
Yeah, the
No,
assembly
and there's no
itself
story.
has
There's no story that you can tell in like the 30 seconds we were there.
And James will talk about Quantum Break.
Yeah, I will talk about Quantum Break. I have seen someone play through the whole of Quantum Break, so I've got quite a good idea of how the game plays. And that's like the main problem with the game is how it plays. Is half of the game when the game is gameplay, it is fantastic. Your time powers are a brilliant spin on the first person genre, and it's very reminiscent of.
You know, it's not like super hot and
No,
it's
it's not like super hot and what's the other one? Max Payne. Yeah, it's not like those two did it first. But
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's the but it plays on it very well.
Third person.
What does that mean?
is it behind you, or is it?
It's
Are
a
you
third
seeing
person
through the
game.
eyes of the person,
He
or are
said
you
it's
not
third
seeing
person.
through the?
No? Oh, it
Is
is.
it third? Is
Oh,
it
it
third
is
person?
No, it's a third person game.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know because I haven't seen it
It
much.
also doesn't help
It's a
when
bit-
people
it's a
interrupt you
brilliant
halfway
twist
through telling
on
a
the
bloody
third-
story.
The first person genre.
Okay.
It's not the first
Do you want
person.
to restart
You
the
got
back
it wrong.
Quantum
I
Break
was
or just
correcting
skip
it for
over it?
you, so we
No,
don't
I
get clearly
think we want to carry on
confused
from
by
this.
James's inconsistency.
James, I
James
think
is
we.
bad. Continue.
Okay. Okay, it's a very good evolution of the third person shooting genre. Cough cough.
Thank you.
When you actually play in the
Get it
game,
right,
it's
don't talk-
fantastic.
Talk
but-
about it.
Half of the game is basically a TV show, and that is this main problem that holds it back because there could be so much more gameplay, and the character could use his powers for so much more other than killing people and a few puzzles. But the fact that they
Brief
decided
summary.
to use they decided to use the area where they could use these more powers, but they decided to just fill it with TV show. That is the main criticism.
Well, thanks, James, for that very insightful, accurate
You are welcome.
overview
I'm
of
bowing.
I
That
forgot the name of the game.
every other reviewer has
I've
said.
legit forgotten the name of the game.
Quantum
Break.
Break.
That's the one. I had Outlast in my head, and I don't even know what that is.
You know,
Is
it's
that
a
a game?
horror game.
That's it. I don't know why it's in my head, but yeah.
Again,
So in conclusion, EGX Rezzed in London Tobacco Dock on the 9th of April was great enjoyment and experience for all of us. Having my favourite game personally there was either Manuel Samuel or an Antioch, which was just great. And I've got to put that at number 1. And James, do it.
There's,
What do you think?
okay. It was a very fun time. I have to admit, my two favorite games would have to
hey,
be.
you only get one.
Event Zero. I only got 2. I am allowed 2.
I just said I
Event-
like 2. I had one favourite.
Okay, I liked Antioch and Event Zero. I'm gonna say my favorite game there was Antioch, but I'm looking forward to see where Event Zero goes.
Ben, before I pass you over, I just want to say something I forgot to mention. Spent 10 quid on some fancy chicken. It tasted like shit.
Shout out to Alfie's Chicken. I bought a cheese sandwich because I'm clever.
Ben brought his lunch. James brought some bagels, and I was like, I forgot because I was out on Friday night, right? And I would have bought some stuff.
It's hitting the town.
I was watching Capturing the Bottle Man at the South End. Shout out to that. That was really good. Check out my Instagram. It's in the description. Like the picture. But yeah, I was out last night, so I couldn't get lunch, so I had to buy something there, and I bought some like chicken with milk and shit in it, and it was really bad. Ben, your turn. Take your own food to conventions.
Right, that is a very good tip. So first off, I've got to say, Dark Souls 3 has got to be my favourite, just because
no surprise there.
It's a AAA title, so obviously it's going to be of a higher quality. Not to say that indie games are bad, but it's a higher quality than indie games. And yeah, that was just my favourite. But other than the AAA title at the indie convention, for some reason, I've got to say my favourite game there, except for Dark Souls. Oh, that's a hard one. So good ones were definitely Manual Samuel and Worms. But I've got to say Worms because I grew up with Worms. I played Worms 1 on my PS1. I've played Worms ever since, and I love the game. So yeah, it's got to be Worms.
Yeah, I will agree, Ben. That Worms is actually there. I sort of forgot about it, but
especially when you're playing with friends. The game just is high quality, really good.
Unless your friends are scumbags.
Yeah, and to use Armageddon's because it's only one of the games. Don't worry, it's only one of the games.
Just called you a cunt, Ben, but I pressed backspace instead of plus, so I didn't hear it.
Shout out to Alfie's push talk.
So that was our EGX talk over and done with, but this podcast we thought was a bit short, so we're going to be covering some of the news stories of the day, and by of the day I mean of the week-ish.
Or quite a long time
mine's
before.
From last Thursday. And the headline is, radioactive wild boars rampaging around Fukushima nuclear site. Radioactive boars are running wild and breeding uncontrollably in the northern region of Japan, contained by the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Mass graves and incinerations have been unable to cope with the quantity of boar corpses shot by hunters. Boars remain in the area, unchecked by humans. The precise number is unknown. But since 2004, the number of boars hunted has increased from 3,000 to 13,000.
Oh dear.
They're hunting 13,000 boars, radioactive boars a year.
Radioactive boars.
The animals are now being killed faster than they can be buried.
Jesus.
They built 3 mass graves that has 600 boars in, and they're nearly full up.
Oh my god.
Why is there so many boars in the first place?
There is no more public land on which mass graves can be dug. So, there's sooner or later, we're going to have to ask local people to give us their land to use. They're running out of space to bury radioactive wild boars in Japan. And
why is that a problem?
They're going to have to start putting them in people's gardens.
Is it because they're overbreeding, so there's too many of them, and because they can't eat them?
But they're radioactive, they shouldn't be breeding.
It costs £1 million. They've got a £1 million operation, and it can only dispose of 3 boars a day.
That's so pathetic. How can you only dispose of 3 boars a day?
And it costs £1 million. The animals are considered the
is that $1 million per boar, or is that $1 million overall?
They used to be, but now they've been contaminated by nuclear radiation. They can't eat them anymore. So that's why they've got a massive number of boars on their hands.
Is that £1 million per boar?
No, it's £1 million for the whole thing.
Right.
They built an incinerator, but they can't burn. They had to build an incinerator because of the radiation. It has to do some like special incineration stuff. And the so they can't just like burn them on like a big bonfire. They have to build this thing that costs £1 million, and it can only do 3 boars a day.
That's so pathetic. There's so many of them. It's just not going to work.
Despite evidence of mutations to local plants and insect life, there has been nothing yet to suggest the boars suffer any ill effects from the radiation.
So they're just normal radioactive boars.
They're just boars who have absorbed a load of radiation, who are now massively out of control.
I love this.
Look, the damage to local farms beyond the quarantine zone caused by the boars has correspondingly increased, amounting to 98 million yen, or £620,000.
God.
So, if I'm very excited to see how the radioactive boar problem.
All I can imagine is just in Fallout 4, just like a pig running around, a slightly green and glowing.
There's nothing bad about them. There's no ill effects, they say. They don't know what they've got. Nothing bad about them. They're just normal boars that now live in the radioactive bit. And it's three. I think it said 30 million times or 3 million times the amount of radiation a human can withstand. So it's really difficult for them to hunt them in the area as well.
Ooh.
Just bump in a 600 in a grave, which there's 3 of, and they're all full up.
Wow.
Nuclear balls, ladies and gentlemen. This is what this podcast has succumbed to.
It's the future, you know?
Well, yeah. Only episode 2 and we're talking about radioactive boars.
This is... I was going to say progress, but I knocked it up because I started saying podcast again. This is progress, ladies and gentlemen.
So, James, what...
My story sort of changed. I was going to talk about like a sort of serious one, but I found one, and it's not really comedy, but it's about there's a new game coming out very recently. If you haven't heard of it, then I'm not sure how, but it's called No Man's Sky. It's going to be it is going to be the biggest game in terms of size ever created. It's going to be a universe to scale, and they've been very secretive about what their game is like. They've got such a huge following, but they haven't released much footage or much information. And about an hour ago, they actually released a 20-minute gameplay video on IGN that showcases completely new stuff that we've never seen before. Breaking news, such as terrain destruction. There's going to be terrain destruction, base invasion, crafting, and combat, and
that's already taken, James.
Sounds so good. I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna be. I haven't bought a game at release in a long time, but now 2 have come out like right next to each other. Are going to come out right next to each other. That I really want to buy at releases. It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, No Man's Sky looks like it's going to be incredible. And one of the things from the trailer that we've seen, it's not really a trailer, it's sort of like a teaser sort of thing. And people were thinking it's going to be like a walking simulator, where when you fly to all these different planets, where there's not going to be much other than to look around and admire the sights, and all the combat is in space. But in this 20-minute gameplay video, we've seen so much more that we've never seen before, and it's got me on the hype train. I'm ready.
Choo choo.
I'm so excited.
Did you see that thing? Sky News, I think it was Sky News, were debating about Thomas the Tank Engine and saying there wasn't enough black trains.
I saw that.
They were talking about how Thomas the Tank Engine is racist.
It's definitely racist because trains have races, don't
hope
they?
They get one now that's called like Tyrone, the Tank Engine. And it has like an afro. He's like, damn, Thomas. Now you can be hauling all that koya honky.
Tyrone
the fat controller gets like a Jamaican wife or something. Yo, Thomas, we got to get that premium spliff. And like, no man, we got to get purged.
It's not steam coming out of her funnel.
It's not steam. It's dank kush. And they start having to get like illegal like covert ops because they're not actually allowed to do it in the Isle of Sodor. And they've got like a big police chase, like, and Thomas is like, we'll chase after Thomas, and it's like, oh,
there's police trains.
And police trains, police interceptors.
Police interceptors with trains. We're gonna hit another train head on with this train.
And they open up the side of Thomas. There's loads of crates in there. And they open it up, and it's just flowers. And you see Percy whiz past with all the real drugs.
Turns out the fat controller is a kingpin.
Fat controller is a kingpin, and they start pimping out the trains.
I thought that's a pretty fantastic note to leave.
But it feels like other drug wars. Between like the other gangs of trains, and there's like a fat, like a skinny controller.
Right, anyone who's living in the UK who's watching this, anyone in the UK who's watching this, you know, Police Interceptors, the bit at the beginning where they like give you some details about it. This is Tracy, the tank engine. She's been 16 years on the force and has destroyed 4 trains while doing it. Her favourite food is Qashqai. Wait, isn't that a car? A Nissan Qashqai.
Qashqai, yeah.
They eat cars.
Movie is Train Spotting. This has been the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And just remember to stay safe when on trains, because they may be taking drugs for the RE soda. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter for that giveaway shirt thing that we might not do.
Unless, like, if one of you enter and you really want the shirt, then go ahead and enter, and I might send it to you.
We'll give you the shirt.
I mean, Ben's already worn it, but
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worn it. It smelled too strongly of PVA glue. I literally felt sick when I wore it. Oh no, I didn't wear it. I just sniffed it, and it just felt sick.
If you want that, you're in luck.
It's in the wash right now, so it's probably like, because it's an iron-on thing, it's probably going to come off a bit in the wash.
You're just going to get a plain grey t-shirt.
It's black.
Black. I'm sorry.
Only if you're a large size or you want a pajama top of Free the Blobs.
We'll check a picture of it on our Twitter. Just retweet that. Follow us. And we might give it to you if
follow my Fur Nation account as well.
Follow us on Twitter.
And my LinkedIn.
Follow James on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Ben's got no social media. Thanks for watching. It's goodbye from me and James and Ben.
Goodbye.
Bye. Have a nice evening or day. I don't know. Don't know what time zone you're in.
Ben's really embedded that ending. Love you, bye. Thanks for watching.
Nailed it.